Hi lovers, welcome back. In today's tutorial we're going to be recreating the dress you saw on the thumbnail. This is my own version of the recreation. If this is something you love to see how I put it together, continue watching. If you're new here, my name is Lillian. Thank you for stopping by. Click the subscribe button, also turn on the notification bell. For my old subscribers, thank you for always being around. Remember to like and leave a comment. This is a reminder of my November online class. Registration is still ongoing. Learn pattern drafting, learn waist cinching, learn how to contour, learn how to sew a well-fitted dress. And this class is actually for everyone. The venue is Telegram and it's going for 5,000 naira. So for today's tutorial, I work with a very stretchy fabric, and please pardon me, my background today is actually different. That's because I'm not at home. All right, so just pardon me for the background and focus on the tutorial. So first thing we are going to do is to place our pattern paper on fold and mark out our starting line. When you are done, come down by your chest line. I'm working with 8 inches, so I'm going to just mark down 8 inches. All right, this is what I have. This is it for my chest line. Then from my shoulder line, I'm going to come down by 16 inches or my half length. All right, so my shoulder to half length is 16 inches. That is what I am marking now. So I'm just going to go ahead to create my half length or waistline like so. Then from that point, from my waistline now, I'm going to come down by 9 inches. All right, this is my waist to my hip line. So I'm just going to go ahead and create my hip line like so, and then I'll also label it that as well. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to come down by my knee length. I'm working with 24 inches because that's my waist to knee length. So I'm just going to create the line and then label it that as well. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to come down by at least 3 to 4 inches extra. This is my full length. Remember, you can always take your length to your desired point. All right, so I added just 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my neckline of 3 inches and then neck depth of 3 inches. Then I'll go ahead and create my neckline, and then I'm going to go in by my shoulder to shoulder measurement divide by 2, which is 7 inches here. I'll mark it on my chest line as well, then connect with my ruler. For my shoulder slant, I'm using 1.5 inch. I'll connect it back to my neck width. All right, I'm going to find the midpoint like so by folding my tape into 2. I'll mark the midpoint, then go in by 1/2 inch, then connect back to my shoulder slant. I'm going to go in by my round bust circumference divide by 4, and then my round waist circumference divide by 4, my round hip circumference divide by 4. And the next thing I'm going to do is to connect from my waist to my hip line, and then from the waist to my chest line like so. And then I'll go ahead and create my armhole. So whatever you mark on your hip line, take off at least 2.5 inch or 2.25 inch. All right, and then mark it on your knee line. So we need to really make the knee line very small because of the style inspiration we are working with. So I'm going to slant it to my full length, as you can see me do now. Go ahead and then add your allowance. I'm adding to just the neckline and the armhole. I'm not adding to the side because the fabric I'm working with or the material I'm working with is stretchy, so there won't be any need of that. So this is the front. So what you are going to do, remember this paper is already on fold, so you are going to trace everything out on the other side of the pattern and then rule out whatever your tracing wheel is showing. So after cutting out, you are going to cut off from the waistline, all right, and then slit it into 2. One is going to be the front, while the other one is going to be the back. So slit it from the middle point, as you can see me do. Then you are going to set one piece aside first, and then what you are going to do is to bring this in. All right, bring in a fresh pattern paper, add to the neckline. We are going to elevate the neckline so that this will be the back piece. All right, so what we are going to do is to trace out your shoulder line, as you can see me do, then the neckline, and then all you are going to do now is to come down from the shoulder line I'm going to also connect just to trace out my neckline. I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So this is going to be the back neckline width. All right, so I don't want us to trace out another pattern again. Instead, we use the same as the front and back. All right, so I'm just going to cut off what I have left, as you can see. So this is now the back. This is now the back pattern. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to go in by 1/2 inch, just as you can see, and then I'm going to connect. All right, remember we are adding zipper to this, so this is just to avoid bulging. All right, so I'm going to cut off. This is now the back pattern. So bring in the down piece now. This is it for my hip line. Remember, I already traced out with my tracing wheel, so I'm just going to mark it out and then label it as well, as you can see. All right, so when you're done, what you are going to do now is to bring in another pattern paper. So we are going to trace out the back as well. So just like we did with the front, we are tracing 2 of the back piece. So I'm going to go ahead and then trace out. The center back, also go in by 1/2 inch and then connect to your hip line. So we did the same thing with the center back, the upper piece. This is just to avoid bulging. So I'll go ahead and then cut off or cut out. You can see that I didn't add any allowance. That's because allowance is not needed. So this is it for both sides of the back piece. You are going to do now, bring in the front piece. All right, so bring in the front piece. The front is already on fold, so what we are going to do now is to set the back piece aside for now, and then we are going to style the front. All right, we are going to start the front. First thing we are going to do is to go in by 3 inches. So from the center point, you are going to mark out 3 inches. All right, so this is the center point. Remember, we place this pattern on fold, so the middle point is very obvious. So from the middle point, I'm going to go out by 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and do that and then create a line to the hemline. The next thing you are going to do is to determine where you want your slit to stop. So I'm going to come down by 6 inches from my hip line. All right, so I came down by 6 inches from my hip line. The next thing we are going to do now is to slit it open. All right, we are going to slit it into 2. Remember to indicate where your slit is going to stop. All right, so like I said, from my hip line I came down by 6 inches, so I'm going to slit this open. When you are done, you are going to bring in one side of the back piece. All right, bring in one side of the back piece, and then you are going to place it just as you can see, and then go ahead and use your paper tape to hold it down. In order to be able to close this upper area, you need to slit the back hip line open, just as you can see now. This is what we have here now. After doing that, what we are going to do is to create our opening. So from your slitted point, you are just going to you are going to use your curve ruler and then blend into your hemline to create your opening. So do well to actually blend it to the back, as you can see me do in this video. So I'm going to take the measurement of what I used as my opening at the hemline. It's actually 5 inches, so I just use my curve ruler to connect it to the slit mark that I have at the hip area. All right, so do well to use your scissors to blend it very well and then to the back, so that you have a very nice curve at that point. All right, so this is what we have here now. When you're done, come over to the front and then you are going to slit the hip line. All right, just slit it open from the hip line and then we are going to close it up. So I'm going to cut it out completely and then I'll close the back hip line. What you're going to do is to slit it open. Just make sure you don't slit it to the end, because we are going to be adding zipper. So this is what we have here. So we have one side of the front and back together now. So hope this is not confusing. This is the front and then this side is the back. All right, so this is what we have here. Set it aside and then bring in the other side of the front piece and then the other back piece. So what we are going to do is to repeat the same thing just like we did at the front. All right, so what we are going to do now is to first of all also use your paper tape to hold it together. Remember to slit the hip line open. When you are done, just like we did at the front, go in by 5 inches. All right, and then you are also going to connect to your opening, that is your slit mark that you already have, as you can see. So just blend it into the back, just as you can see me do now. I'm going to go ahead and cut off. So we already created our opening on both sides of the pattern, and then remember this is also the front and back piece. All right, so what we are going to do now after doing that is you are going to come over to the center back, go in by 1 inch. So this is because of the style inspiration that we are working on. Go in by 1 inch and then you are going to connect it just as you can see me do. So this is actually to help us shape the down of the back side. So you already see my finished look. This will give you like a proper and well fitted shape at the back. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side of the pattern as well. I'll go in by 1 inch and then I'll also connect it. So don't take it too far. The point we are trying to shape is just the down parts of the back, so you don't need to take it to the top too much. So I'm going to also cut off as well, as you can see. All right, and then this is what we have now. Another thing we are going to do is to go ahead and then we are going to create a slant line. So it shouldn't be straight. Leave out a few inches from your waistline. You're going to leave out a few inches from your waistline before doing this. So I just decided to turn it before we start doing that. So this is the center back. For all you are going to do now is to slant your ruler and then start creating your lines. So you can see what I'm doing, just a few inches from your waistline at the center front and then take it to the center back. All right, so just as you can see me do, I'm actually doing this at a random depending on the fullness you want. You can actually do it very small, you can do it big. So this is what I have. So mine is roughly, so at this point I had to slit this particular one open. All right, so this will enable me close the hip line. All right, this will enable me close the hip line so that I can create my slanted line into the hip line. All right, so hope this is clear. So just watch what I'm doing. You will understand it better in case you are confused with whatever I'm saying. So just watch carefully and then repeat everything you are seeing me do in this video. What I'm going to do now is to go ahead and then slit the whole slanted line. Remember to leave at least 1 inch to 1.5 inch from away from the center back. All right, so just as you can see, go ahead and then slit everything open, leave at just a few inches. So I'm going to set it aside and then bring in the back piece. So I'm going to repeat the same thing, nothing different, just the same thing. Go ahead and then create your slanted line as you can see me do here, and then I'm going to also open it up. Remember to leave out a few inches from the center back, just as you can see. All right, so that it won't be a problem when you are about to add your zipper, because the dress is going to have a zipper. So you are going to bring in your fabric now, and then you are going to spread it open. So guys, please pardon me, I'm actually, you can see the setting of my background or of my table that is not what it used to. That's because I am somewhere and then I needed to keep my channel running. So please pardon me if I won't be able to cover everything I'm doing here, but I'll definitely show us everything that is going on here. So the spaces I'm leaving is just at a random. You can do 1.5 inch, you can do 2 inches, you can do 3 inches, depending on the fullness you want, and depending on the fabric you have available to work with. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and pin down. You can see that the space we have around the hip line, that's after the hip line, is more. That's because of how we actually slit it open. So we'll have more of the hip, we'll have more of space at the down around that point. Just watch what I'm doing and then repeat the same thing. So the space you can leave, like I said, you can leave as much as you want. It just depends on how you want it and then how much fabric you have to work with and all of that. All right, so after doing that, we are going to go ahead and then cut out. So in case you're wondering, there is no allowance, nothing, because the fabric on its own or the material on its own is stretchy. So I'm just going to cut off around it so that I'll be able to pleat this easily. So just as you can see me too now, I'm going to pleat and then I'm going to pin down. So just take this to this, pin it down, and then take this to this, pin it down, take this to this, pin down. Just do the same thing to the rest of the piece. All right, so when you're done, just go ahead and then cut out. Go ahead, use your chalk to indicate where your slit stop, just as you can see me do. Then remove your pattern paper. After removing your pattern paper, you are going to pleat it up. So just watch what I'm doing. Make sure to put it together, irrespective of what the original form used to be. Just make sure like you pull everything up. Pleat it up towards the waist area because of the style inspiration. All right, so it doesn't need to, the pleats doesn't need to come down. Just as you can see in this video, make sure you pleat everything up towards the waistline area. Just make sure you indicate where your slit stop and then don't pleat your slit. All right, so this is what I have now, as you can see. All right, so I'm just going to set it aside. Then I'm going to set it aside and bring the other side of the pattern. So we are repeating the same thing, just the same thing we did here is the same thing we are going to do on this side of the pattern. So repeat the same thing just like we did before. Just pleat everything together as you can see me do in this video. All right, so the last one I'm still going to repeat the same thing. Just pleat it together, then remember to mark your where your slit stops. So I was supposed to cut, but as you can see I started removing my pattern instead of cutting out, so that was actually a mistake. As you can see, I was supposed to cut out the excesses that I have after pinning down. So notwithstanding, I'm going to cut it now because it's where my pin stopped that my pattern actually stopped. So just as you can see me do, I already cut off the excesses. So just like we did before, I still need to pleat it up, so I'm going to take it up. What you are going to do now is to bring it together. So make sure your slits align, the points you are going to use for your slits. So when joining, make sure you also take it up. All right, make sure you take it up as you can see, and then all you need to do is to join it right side facing the right side. All right, so just stop stitch, put it together, join it right side facing the right side. All right, and then stop at your exact slit point. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring it back. For the upper piece, I already cut out my center front unfold as you can see. All right, and then this is it after cutting out. And then for the back, I also cut out 2 pieces. All you are going to do is to place it right side facing the right side, pin down, and then you're going to join the shoulder by 1/2 inch and then the side by 1 inch. So I will do that and bring the whole piece back. This is it after I was done joining. All right, and then this is it for the down piece as well. Remember to stop at your slitted point. So this is what we have for everything. Remember, like I said, when you are sewing, do where to pleat it up. So I'm going to fold this into 2 equal half, and then I'm going to notch the midpoint. As you can see, I will do the same thing here, also notch the midpoint as well. All right, fold it together and then notch the midpoint. So after doing that, you are going to place it right side facing the right side, align the notch part, and then pin down as you can see in this video. So for the excesses that didn't align, I'm going to go ahead and then cut it off because we won't be needing it. All right, so I'm just going to carefully cut it off. Working with this fabric can be very difficult, so I'm going to join the waist by 1/2 inch and bring it back. So this was it after I was done joining by 1/2 inch. This is what we have as the dress. So what we are going to do next is to take the circumference of the round neckline. All right, so I'm going to take the circumference of the round neckline. You are going to do this as many times as possible because of how stretchy the fabric is, or the material is. So when you're done, bring in a fresh pattern paper, fold it into two, and then fold your neckline into two by folding your tape into two, and then mark. All right, when you mark, at that point go up by 1.25, and then what you are going to do is to measure the back neckline, as you can see me do. Then you are going to connect from that 1.25 point to the back neckline, like so. When you're done, the neck width for the band, I'm using 2 inches. This is my allowance inclusive, as you can see, and then I'll connect. Then I'm going to also fold my my tape into two, to retake the round neckline measurement. All right, so wherever is top, I'm going to mark it. And then go in a little at the top. This is actually to tighten the upper area, as you can see. Then I'm going to cut out. All right, so I'm going to cut out. After cutting out, the folded edge is the back, while this side is going to be the front. So I will slit the folded parts and then bring the front parts together. All right, I'll bring the front parts together and then seal it up with my tape. Then I'll go ahead and then cut this out on my fabric. So I'm cutting 2 for lining and then the main piece. So you can see I didn't add allowance, everything is already there. I will join the upper area by 1/2 inch, bring in the dress, then I'm going to fold it into 2, notch the midpoint, as you can see me do. Then I will do the same thing to the band as well. I'm going to also notch the midpoint. Then I will align everything together and then pin down. So I'm sorry this is fast, I just need to do what I have to do. All right, what we are going to do is to join by 1/2 inch. So I already done that, and then this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and fix my zipper, and this is it for this video. Fix your band, fix your zipper, and then go ahead and fix your sleeve. I actually work with normal basic sleeve. I just added a few peplon to the down that is not too wide. So this is the finished look. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.